Absolutely. I've said it before, but I really do believe it. This is the most complete team we've had. We've had great pitching staffs, we've had great offenses, but this is the best combination of the three that we've had, and it gives us an opportunity to win in a couple different ways. On any given day, if you can get two of the three, pitching, hitting, and pitching, hitting, and defense, then you got a chance to win. And we're fortunate that we have the ability to put together any of the three.
So you certainly had a great career, but the pitching numbers this year at a whole level, what would you kind of attribute that to? What has kind of been the difference where you went from very, very, very good to dominant?
I would just say I shifted my perspective of just pitching in general. So I came back from an injury this summer and just realizing that just finding my love of softball again and just having a staff plays a huge difference. So instead of going and playing and pitching and thinking, oh, here's another game I have to pitch, I'm thinking, hey, I get a chance to pitch today. So there were some tournaments this preseason that I would only pitch 2 games a weekend, and that was just so not normal for me. But just really finding an opportunity in each game to play rather than seeing it as something I had to do, kind of thing. I mean, it's difficult because it's something I was used to, but I mean, it's a team game, and I'm excited to give opportunities to my teammates, and especially them being so young. I think that it's a great learning experience for them, and I mean, they've handled it pretty well at the same time, so I mean, I'm happy with where the season's gone.
What was that injury this summer?
I tore my MCL.
Is it, with maybe a few less innings, do you feel like your arm's fresher headed into the postseason than maybe in previous years?
I would say that I'm feeling a lot fresher than I have in the past. Obviously, with Big Ten seasons, it's looked a little bit more normal with the Friday, Sunday games usually. But yeah, I'm feeling better than I've ever been at this stage of the season, so we're excited.
So you guys, you don't need any motivation. I'm not trying to get bulletin board material, but a lot has been made between Gophers and Michigan. There's been a lot of chatter on social media and stuff. Do you guys kind of like that you're going into the Lions' Den? Or they'd like you at least think that you're going into the Lions' Den?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun going to Ann Arbor. We played there our freshman year, and we haven't been back since. And it was a fun environment then, and we're really excited to get back and play there this weekend.
Feel the same things like Sara said when it comes to hitting. Like there's other support staff now on your team that can come up with the big hits. You don't always have to press and feel like you've got to get your team in a situation, come up with a big hit every time because you've seen some of the young freshmen come through. I mean, you really have a lot of powerhouse people that can manufacture runs.
Yeah, we talk a lot about how you can either see pressure as pressure or pressure as opportunity. And I think especially this year our lineup is really stacked. And you don't have to depend on certain people this year, and that really just makes it a lot more fun and enjoyable because you don't have to stress about who's getting on and how we're going to score runs. You can just depend on everybody because everyone's going to get the job done.
That's kind of saying some of your multi-homer games. Is it more fun? Is that you can just kind of go out there and be the player that you want to be?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of the middle of your lineup, particularly the freshmen, as the season's gone along, how have other teams kind of adjusted to them, and how have your players adjusted to those adjustments? Just the way they're pitched,
Yeah, I think obviously the longer you play, the more film there is on you. There's scouting report where at the beginning of the year there's no scouting report, so there's a little bit of that. But I think with the young players, especially for the freshmen, the hardest piece is just managing the long season. And when I say long season, I mean the emotions of a long season. It's 54 games and then postseason of something that you care deeply about and you put a lot into. And softball's a tough game, and it'll eat you alive if you let it. So I think just managing kind of the ups and downs and trying to stay as steady as you can be, I think that's the biggest challenge for any young player because it's the highest level that any of them have played at, and you're going to fail more than you failed in the past. And kind of managing those failures and understanding that you're still doing a good job. I think that's the hardest piece.
So you guys change your goals at all from the beginning of the season? Coming out of last year, you guys graduated a lot off last year. And regardless of how talented a freshman class appears, you still aren't always sure.
Yeah.
With what you've seen, all the holes you had were filled and then some. Sara's taken a huge leap this year, which, as good as she was last year, seems almost impossible to foresee.
Yeah.
Have you had to raise the goals for this team as the season's gone along?
Well, I think a couple different things have happened. I think this team's done a really good job of staying level. Like, it hasn't been the big ups and downs. And I think with that, the goal always is to win a Big Ten championship and compete for a national title. Like, that's it. That's the goal. And I think that we've gained confidence as it's gone along. And I'll tell you the same thing I've told the team before, and I've told some of our former players, I always thought we had a chance to beat anybody in the country. But maybe in years past, I felt like we needed to be perfect and the dominoes needed to fall exactly in our way for things to pan out. We don't have to be perfect. Now, do you have to play great softball at this time of the year? Absolutely. We've got a lot of great pieces in place. And I think that's what's changed. I never questioned whether, we're stepping on the field. I think we can beat anybody in the country. But I think the difference now is that we're going in with, we don't have to be perfect. We talk a lot about it. We don't have to be perfect. We just got to be tough. We got to compete.
That's the hardest level too, is also keeping the mentality level when you have blowouts of 11-1, 14-1. How do you handle the emotions, especially for the younger kids that expect that that's how you're going to win all the time sometimes?
Yeah, that's hard. That's really hard. And to start to not get bored with winning. That's really important. That sounds so silly because you wouldn't think anyone would get bored with winning. But if you start to take it for granted, it's going to come up and it's going to bite you. So I think that's something that, our upperclassmen have done a tremendous job with, just really enjoying the journey and celebrating it and making sure everybody understands how special it is. I didn't get much sleep Saturday night because I was worried about Sunday. Just coming off of such an emotional day and playing so well in the first 2 games, what we were going to look like coming out Sunday and whether we were going to have one of those tanks. So I think that's a huge challenge, is understanding that anybody can beat anybody at any given point in time. But this team, like I said, we've been consistent. And, I trust that we're going to come out and we're going to respect our opponent. And, you asked earlier about going back to Ann Arbor, but it's a long way before we get to play Michigan. So I think we learned that a couple years ago when we went into Ohio State and lost to Iowa, who we had just pounded the weekend before. So we got to start with the first game, and it's not easy.
Sarah, I assume, have you guys done the classes?
Yeah, we just finished this week.
Does it, this goes without saying, how much does it help that it can be all softball now for the next however long you can run?
I mean, it's really great that all we got to focus on is, getting sleep, staying healthy, whether that's eating the right foods, drinking the right things, and just playing softball. We don't have to focus on staying up late and studying, getting good grades. Now it's just softball, softball, softball. So it's really relieving, and Coach Allister's really excited about that. But yeah, I think the team's really excited to just focus on just softball, mainly softball this week.
Can you put into words where you thought this program was when you were a recruit and kind of how it's grown in the 4 years you've been here?
I think when I was a recruit, softball really wasn't on the map as much until Coach Allister got here. So when I got here, it was more of a growing program. And now, even my freshman year, we were part of some big things that were new to Gopher softball that year. And now we just keep raising the bar every year, and it's really exciting how far we've come in the last 4 years and since Coach Allister's been here.
You had a lot of big moments here, but does that home run against Auburn kind of stand out still?
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about you always want to think about all the good things in your memory versus all the things that you're doing wrong, because it really helps you as a player. Focusing on everything you've done well, it gives you more confidence. So yeah, I like to take the moments that I've done well in, and when I step in the box, think of those moments to give me a little more motivation and helps me a little bit more. Yeah.
What do you say to the younger teammates, both of you, that postseason is so different? You can cruise into the postseason, but what have you learned from past postseasons? I know you guys in the past have had the mountain. We're going to get to this part, to this part. What do you tell the maybe younger teammates about this time of year?
I think it's just taking it game by game. You can't overlook anyone. Like Coach Allister said, anyone could beat anyone on any given day. So just really taking it game by game. And just knowing that postseason is really special. I mean, not every single team gets to participate in it. And we're lucky enough that we've had a great enough season where we can play. So just looking at it as an opportunity to play another game of softball for the Gophers. And just really embracing it. It's going to be hard, but that's what makes it fun, is just battling with your teammates and just really embracing it. Like I said, just embracing the postseason. It's a special feeling.
Coach, with Sarah taking even another leap this year, you talked about the effect of having a deeper pitching staff, but what individually with her have you seen maybe even just a little bit different this year that's helped you make that jump?
Well, I think she said it earlier. I think she's dead on. I think there's a couple things. Injuries are scary, and I think when you see your career maybe become a little fragile for a split second, it makes you really appreciate what you have. It makes you realize that, holy smokes, this seems like everything's going, but things can change so quickly. But I think the biggest thing, and it's a long season. And when you have to be prepared mentally to step into the circle and take the ball almost every single game, like, we talk about physically being fresher, but that's emotionally and mentally draining. And that's a lot of time that you have to be on. And that's exhausting. So I think with experience and age, she's probably learned to deal with that a little bit better. But then also, I'll never forget the day Sara walked into my office and said, now it's not that I'm going to pitch, it's that I get to pitch. And, I think a testament to what Sara has done is not only has she put up her best numbers of her career, this is the toughest schedule she's ever played against. She doesn't have any games on that schedule that boost her stats. Like, she's getting hard games and putting up the numbers that she's putting up. It's not like you're facing Texas one game and then maybe you get a game where you get to get 15 strikeouts to feel good about yourself. I mean, her preseason was opponent after opponent after opponent after opponent. And to see her do what she did against that schedule, I mean, that's unbelievable.
As a coach, how hard was it to sort of go to the other side of it, well, I have to pitch or I have to do this?
Oh, I never saw that. I never saw that, no. And I think when she says that, I don't think it means that she dreaded.
You're trying to play through before you finally give in. You see someone who's so talented.
Mhm.
I hate to talk about you leaving out here, but someone who's so talented and fighting through.
Yeah.
You can't do anything, and she has to get to the other side herself.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sara did exactly what our training room told her to do, did exactly what our strength conditioning coach told her to do, and we understood that there was going to be a little bit of a process to get her healthy. We understood, that it was probably at the best time of the year, and that it could have been way worse. Is it a little bit of setback? Sure, but let's move along. And I think that if you just, do what you're supposed to do and take care of the process and do everything on your end and trust that it's going to work out. Sara, it was also a great time. You learn to lead a little bit different. So when you're on the field every day, you're leading one way. When you can't lead that way, you got to find other ways to lead too. So I think Sara probably grew as a leader in that sense too. And sometimes when you sit back and you watch and you're not so involved at certain things, like, you see a little bit more too. So I think every experience you can either grow from it and get a little bit better or not, and Sara was a tremendous teammate and leader through that process and worked her tail off to get back in the circle.
Just time for a couple more.
Coach, I'm sure you-
Coach, I know you were excited when Lindemann committed a few years ago. Did you think she'd be this good this quickly, though? I mean, have this kind of impact?
We thought she was great. You never expect anyone to put together the freshman or any season that she's putting together. I mean, you can never expect that. We thought she was really, really good. But she's doing a heck of a job. And her maturity level, she's starting to get pitched around a little bit. She's continuing to take the walks. I mean, talk about being a great team player. And she scored most of the time. But she's playing with a great maturity right now. And she's a tremendous softball player.
I know you don't dwell on it, but with like the rankings and as you kind of climb throughout the season, what is it like a day like yesterday when you see that now you're the number 2 ranked team in the country, and from where you started with the program to where it is now, what is it like just seeing that 2 next to the name Minnesota, which doesn't really happen?
I mean, obviously it's special. We talked about it at practice. Yeah, it's really awesome to be the number 2 team in the country, but we want more. We're hungry, and we're gonna find a way to be even better. So, if we're operating at 95%, we want to operate at 96%. If we're at 96, we want to operate at 97. We want to find some way to be better. So, yeah, it's great, but we're never going to be satisfied, and we're always going to be hungry. And I think that's something that really sets our team apart.